Hey G-Fans, GoGFan93 here, and welcome to another episode of Kaiju Discussion. In today's discussion, I just wanted to talk about basically the future of Godzilla. And I know I've said a lot in, responding to comments that it's too early to speculate on the sequel, and, I'm kind of exhausted because, this movie alone was tiring about all the speculations and all the people saying that these monsters are going to be in it and they're proven wrong and all that. But I think I should at least make one video talking about the Godzilla sequel and what I think about the future holds for Godzilla. So this will pretty much be the only video that I do some speculation, because after this I really don't want to talk a lot about the sequel, because the Blu-ray for the first movie hasn't even come out yet, so but this will be the only video that I really want to talk about it. So basically Godzilla just destroyed the box office, and not even, I think it was on Saturday, the second day of the movie being out, that they already had that there was rumors of the sequel already being confirmed and stuff like that, and now it's even more confirmed. It's like the #1 movie, and they're saying that it's been greenlit, confirmed, and Gareth Edwards and Max Borenstein already have, they said they already had like a universe ready for it. So I have a feeling that even though Gareth Edwards said that he wasn't planning on doing a sequel, that I think they still had stories ready to go just in case this film did well, because I doubt, because I've never heard of a sequel being confirmed right away, like that quickly. I mean, this was on its opening weekend that they confirmed a sequel for it, so that's really fast. So I have a feeling that Legendary called up Gareth, or some kind of communication happened and said, look at these numbers that we're projecting, hey, let's bring up that sequel idea. And then they're like, yeah. So let's just say that it was a good idea that Gareth Edwards gave it an open ending. And I've been hearing that there are more Mutos. So not only, so those 2 Mutos that were in the film, those weren't the only Mutos. That there apparently is, there are other monsters out there, and that opens the doors for new original monsters, which I'm good for. I think, on the same terms of like Orga and Megaguirus, Biollante, Space Godzilla, Destroya, when it comes to like new enemies for Godzilla to face, I'm totally welcome to it. But on the other hand, I do want to see a classic monster come back. I think now that because of the success of the film, that Toho would see that, okay, maybe we can give them at least one more monster. And a lot of people are saying Mothra. One, because there were a lot of Easter eggs that were just like devoted to Mothra. There were like, on the case with the moth in it, that it said Mothra on the bottom, and then all the moths that were on the board in the classroom in the movie. So there was a lot of stuff pointing towards Mothra, and Max Borenstein said himself that Mothra would be basically the Joker to Batman or something like that. So, which is kind of weird, because I never really thought of Mothra being like that. I thought like King Ghidorah would be the Joker to Godzilla, because like the King Ghidorah is Godzilla's arch nemesis, right? At least that's what I think, right? But anyways, so, if it's Mothra, so be it. Mothra's not my all-time favorite monster, and I would have much rather want like King Ghidorah or, Gigan, or maybe even Mechagodzilla. I don't know, because maybe Mechagodzilla might be well, then again, you have to remember though, because I just now thought of this, you got to remember that this is a grounded series, so it would be really hard for them to put an alien monster in there. I know that they could make it work if they tried hard enough, but I feel that if they bring in a space monster, it would kind of turn it into the cheese factor again, which is totally fine for us Godzilla fans, but for those other moviegoers out there, it might kind of change their perspective, because this film was so grounded and dark. But still, I would love it. I would love to see a new King Ghidorah. There's so many pictures on DeviantArt of like, what can happen. There's like that really awesome picture where it says 2014 Go or something like that, and it has like this whole row of just new designs for all the characters for like its own, Legendary's own Godzilla universe. Then there's also the potential Pacific Rim Godzilla crossover, because Guillermo del Toro said that he would love to see Pacific Rim crossover with Godzilla. And, you know, I would love to see that. I mean, I don't know how they would make it work, but I would love to see it. Now, talking about the sequel itself, you know, title-wise, I mean, I don't know, maybe it would just be called Godzilla 2. It'd be the first time in the Godzilla series where they actually give it, you know, numbers at the end, you know, Godzilla 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, however long they're making this franchise. Or they're going to subtitle it, so maybe it'll be like called Godzilla blank something, I don't know, whatever that, or Godzilla 2 blank something, whatever. But, you know, I want to see more monster fights, and, you know, this is something it hasn't actually been sitting with me well with the first film, because everything else of the film was fine, but what has not been sitting well with me was actually the lack of Godzilla. And, you know, I'm not saying, I mean, I understand why they did it that way, and I'm perfectly fine with it. The film was still perfect. I still give it a solid B. But, you know, that airport scene when Godzilla was first revealed, that part really now is starting to get to me. It's starting to creep into my head, and I'm thinking, you know, I think they should have at least given some fight scene there, even, you know, instead of on like a newscast TV. And then also when the female Muto attacked Las Vegas, I think that should have been a little bit of a destruction scene. But, you know, I still understand why they did that, and I still think the payoff was great at the end of the movie, and I think it was fantastic. But I think when it comes to the sequel, though, I think what they should do is make Godzilla more of a threat, because that is actually something that that's been sitting with me, and I've been, you know, thinking about the film, and, you know, it's been going through my head. I've been, you know, processing it. And Godzilla was not that much of a threat in this one. He didn't seem to be the I become death, or whatever the saying was. It seemed to be more of the Mutos that were the bigger threat, and that Godzilla came to, you know, restore balance and all that stuff. But I feel like the trailers kind of lied to us in a way, because they were making it sound like Godzilla was the big, like, baddie, and the big, like, oh shit, here he comes, you know, but it was the Mutos that was actually the main thing. So what I would love to see in the sequel is I would love to see Godzilla go, you know, from the people thinking that he's a savior to the Godzilla that, you know, now he's like, I don't know, you know, going after the reactors, now that he's wanting the nuclear energy. Because, like, think about, like, when in Godzilla 1984, Godzilla was going after the nuclear or the reactor facilities or whatever. You know, in the first scene where he's there, he went after the facility, and he, you know, destroyed the building and took out that whatever object, and he was, you know, basically, you know, taking in the fumes of all the nuclear radioactivity. So I want to see that Godzilla, because I feel like this Godzilla, he kind of, I mean, I get why he was there. He came to destroy the Mutos, to restore balance. It kind of gives it this weird tone to it, and it's just, like I said, the more and more I'm thinking about the film, it's a different kind of Godzilla film, and I love it. I love it, because you guys know how I am when it comes to new Godzilla films and how they kind of change up the formula. I'm glad they, you know, I still think it's perfect. I love how Godzilla was turned into a metaphor of force of nature, and how he wanted, you know, restoring and all that stuff. But I think for the sequel, let's give Godzilla more of a violent, you know, attitude towards things. I think, you know, in this one he was a little bit too passive with humans, even though he knows that they don't exist, basically, or that, you know, he thinks they're just ants or whatever. But I feel, you know, let's have him run through a bridge instead of go under it, under the sea. Let's have him destroy some battleships with his atomic breath. Let's have him destroy some buildings just for the hell of it, you know, or like he just runs, like they're in his way, and he just, you know, takes them out, you know, because they're in his way. Like, let's do that, you know, let's make him more of an aggressive Godzilla, because you know, in terms, I think why they made Godzilla sort of an anti-hero in this movie was to kind of cater to the younger audience, which I'm perfectly fine, because that's great, because we get more fans that way. And I think that's why they did it, because you can have those young kids who are very they see Godzilla on the screen, and they're like, yeah, he's a winner, yay, just like we were back when we were kids and we were watching the show of Godzilla, when we were watching Godzilla fight Megalon, we were rooting for him, we were like, yeah, Godzilla kicked ass. Even when we were little watching the Heisei series, when Godzilla was fighting Space Godzilla or Mecha Godzilla or King Ghidorah, we were still rooting for him, even though he was an anti-hero. So, but besides all that, but in the sequel, I want to see Godzilla destroy more. I want to see more scenes of Godzilla. I want to see more monster focus. And I think with Aaron Taylor Johnson's character, even though I was one of the people that didn't have a problem with his character, I thought he did all right. I mean, it wasn't Oscar worthy, but I thought he did all right. He played his role. Excuse me. I think his story arc is done. I think we should move on from him, and let's get back with Ken I think it's Watanabe. I think I was actually corrected, but I think with Ken Watanabe, let's focus more on this guy, okay? Because he was very interesting in this movie, and now because spoiler alert, because Joe is dead, so sadly he's not going to be in it. I think the Aaron Taylor Johnson character, I think he's done. So we can have him come back like a little bit, but I feel he's done. Like, let's not have him be the main role. I think the main role should be Ken Watanabe. I think that would just be perfect, and maybe add a new character to, spice some things up. But and I think maybe have Ken Watanabe all of a sudden realize, like, Godzilla, even though he's still kind of the balancer, now he's like more aggressive or something like that, because now he's like sucked in more radiation or whatever, or something like that. I don't know, but I think that would be a kind of a cool storyline. So when it comes to monsters, I want to see more monster fighting. I want to see Godzilla be a little bit more aggressive, and I want to see new original monsters, but I think it would also be great to see some classic monsters. If Mothra's going to be it, so be it. Or that was a little bit redundant. If Mothra's going to be in it, so be it. Once again, I'd love to see King Ghidorah, Gigan, freaking Mecha Godzilla. That'd be pretty cool. I have a feeling that if they did Megalon, and hear me out, I have a feeling if they did Megalon, it would work, because they could warp Megalon's origin to make him a mutant, and it could work. I think it'd be great. I'd love to see Megalon again. So when it comes to that, I think the sequel. I have a feeling the sequel will be better, because I know Gareth Edwards will, he will take the feedback of the fans and the general audience, and he'll make it better. I know he will. He's done the setup film. This basically, the first film was the setup, and now they're gonna do the sequel, and I have a feeling there will be more monster fights, because we know what Godzilla looks like. So he has no choice but to show more Godzilla. I mean, think about it this way. I hope he's going to do like an Alien thing, where the first Alien movie, you barely saw Alien. But then in the sequel, Aliens, shit, it was like action galore, and it was just like aliens everywhere. Obviously there's not going to be like Godzillas everywhere, but I just mean as in terms of more action. Let's see, what else? And so after Legendary and all that stuff, but another thing that I want to focus on is what Toho is planning to do. And in my reviews, I was talking about, I'm very excited about what Toho thinks and what they are planning to do with the Godzilla franchise. Now, I have a couple things that are running in my head, like, are they going to continue with the suitimation, or are they going to now utilize CGI like we did to kind of make it kind of connect and kind of relevant, I guess. Personally, myself, just because of nostalgia and because I've been a fan forever, I would like to see at least one more suitimation film, because I feel that Toho now has the money to make a better budget Godzilla film than Final Wars, because I heard that Final Wars had the biggest budget, but the movie looked like shit, frankly. I love the film, but the film's quality was not as good as like Tokyo SOS. But I feel now that I think Toho has enough money. It's been 10 years, it's been 10 years. So I think that if Toho wanted to make another movie, they could do suitimation one more time, and they could make it look really good, And there's the rumors of it being the Godzilla vs. Hedorah 2, or Deathla, or whatever Bano, I don't remember his first name, Yoshido Bano or something like that, but the director of Hedorah, like he wants to do a sequel to that, and it was canceled a long time ago, so maybe that's a movie that they're going to bring back. Or a freaking King Kong vs. Godzilla remake. They can do that in Japan. They could totally, you know, because with the Suitimation stuff with Toho, they can make it the cheesy stuff, you know, and I think it would be great. How awesome would this be if Toho and Legendary made a deal where they would do two parallel, well, not parallel, but they do two series where Legendary would do the serious Godzilla films, the rounded, rooted, dark kind of serious films, and then Toho would keep on doing their Suitimation fun, cheesy, awesome Godzilla movies. I think that would be awesome. So that means we get two set of Godzilla movies going. I think that'd be great. Anyways, let's see. Also, we don't have to worry about Godzilla being dead, obviously. I mean, this film just knocked it out of the park. Even when X-Men Days of Future Past comes out, and I think it's like next week or so, yes, it's going to knock Godzilla out of the #1 spot, but who cares? Godzilla still made a shit ton of money. It's popular. Godzilla's back in the mainstream. Everyone's talking about it, and that means we don't have to worry about losing this franchise in America. That means it's still relevant, it's still popular, and the fact that a sequel's coming out, which means the people who are complaining, like completely complaining about the lack of Godzilla fight scenes, they want more, so they will go see the sequel. And, you know, that's just how it is. And I want to see more. I want to see more of this Godzilla. I think this Godzilla was a badass, and I want to see more of him. I just want to see more of him destroy stuff. That's, you know, that's all. And maybe he can do another Kiss of Death thing, because that was, oh my god, that was just amazing. So yeah, but Toho, I would love to see Toho make at least one more Suitimation film. But if not, you know, they might do the CGI route. And another thing that I'm wondering is, like, are they going to use our design of Godzilla, or are they going to create a new look for Godzilla? Which that'd be kind of cool. Whatever they're going to do. Yeah. So. I think that's really all I want to talk about when it comes to the future of Godzilla. So I think the future is very bright. Godzilla has a crap ton of potential now in America. Actually, no, worldwide. Godzilla is back completely, in full force. The film did amazing. Don't worry about X-Men, guys, okay? Yes, it will knock it out of the park. It will knock it out of the first, #1 spot. But Godzilla's still going to be probably in the top 3 movies of 2014 when it comes to the summer blockbusters. I have a feeling. I mean, it decimated Spider-Man, okay? I am so amazed that Godzilla destroyed Spider-Man. That just makes me so freaking happy that it did that, because I was afraid that Spider-Man was going to do a little bit better, but it didn't. So, yeah. But the future's bright. It's going to be great, guys, and I'm very excited about the future of Godzilla. So that's all my speculating for the sequel and what Godzilla has in store for us. So I don't want to hear a lot of comments of, what do you think about this? Or, ooh, do you think this guy's going to be in the movie? Because I have no idea. So please don't ask me questions of speculation, because I just don't know the answers, guys. It's too early to say. It's way too early to say. So yeah, and I think the film, I think it's going to be a 2-year cycle, so we won't see another till 2016 or 2017, but I don't care. It's fine. It can take as long as it needs to make it good. This film took 4 freaking years to develop. I think we can wait 2 more years for another one, okay? We're fine. And especially maybe if Toho can get a movie in maybe next year, I don't know. Oh, and also it just reminded me, we're getting a Gamera movie next year, aren't we? Isn't there a Gamera movie coming out in 2015? So maybe that'll fill the gap of Kaiju movies. So think about it, guys. I mean, we're getting a Kaiju movie every year now. We got Pacific Rim last year, Godzilla this year, Gamera next year, and then maybe the following year another Godzilla. So it's good. The Kaiju genre is back. It's alive, and hopefully it'll take over Hollywood just like the superhero genre has. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's all I got for this Kaiju discussion video. Thank you guys so much for watching. And also, one more little announcement I gotta say. This will kind of be a little bit of a channel update as well. You'll notice behind me with my collection that it'll start to become more empty because I'm moving soon, and so I'm packing stuff and whatever. So so things will start to get empty here. So don't worry if things are gone. I'm not selling anything. I'm just they're being packed and put away so that when I move I can bring them in. So but yeah, so that's it. So also probably on Friday there'll be a break of videos because that's when we'll be moving into the new place. So I won't have time to make videos. So just know that. I'll probably make another update later just to let you guys know. But that's it. So the future's bright for Godzilla. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay big, G fans.